Hey everyone, welcome to the JFree906 podcast, and this is the Secret of Skinwalker Ranch series. And again, tonight we have Shannon DeSalvo and Seth Bridges. Guys, how you doing tonight?
Doing awesome. How are y'all?
Oh man, I tell you what, I'm doing great. I mean, this has been such a fun week. I mean, first we had Monday, we had Shannon and Michelle on, and that was awesome.
Yeah.
That was so much fun. That was a great show. Michelle was great, and of course Shannon, you were all you're great too. So
Yeah.
no,
Michelle is watching tonight.
Nice.
Ooh, is she watching? Oh, we got to
Yes,
be okay. We got to be good then.
super nice.
Don't say anything bad about Michelle. Okay, she was
No,
wonderful.
Yeah, she was
great.
awesome.
Yeah, she was an awesome guest. I enjoyed watching it, and she's an awesome moderator as well.
Yes. So if you haven't, folks,
Agreed.
if you haven't seen that particular episode, it was on Monday night. We had Michelle Stratton and Shannon Salvo. It was for our insiders insights, and both our moderators actually at the insiders program. So yeah, it was a lot of fun and very informative evening. And I always love getting the perspective of folks that are insiders, and we'll continue to do that as we go through. Then last night we had Beyond Skinwalker Ranch, which I thought was a really cool episode last night.
Mhm.
Yep. And then that was with Jim and with Seth. And then tonight we have season 4, episode number 11, In the Heat of the Night. Again, it was another one of those, as we go through this one tonight, it was another one of those. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. Another one of those mind blowing episodes where I'm like, now wait a minute. You're adding this to the mix now? Wait. It's like,
Hmm.
how many more things can they add on top of everything else that they found out about the triangle area, the anomaly above the triangle? I mean, it's
Well, that's
Yeah.
why they got the extra episodes, I think, for this
yes,
season.
Yeah. We're getting to the like where we're finally getting to see instruments picking up on. And I mean, this, in my opinion, picking up on the things that the reason we're seeing the reasons for why they speak so boldly. Like when Brandon's like, "This is
Mhm.
the most important investigation in the world." And last night, when he was talking to the insiders, he kind of addressed how he talks about that. He's like, I get a lot of slack for that, but he believes it. And
Mhm.
you see stuff like the episode we're about to talk about tonight, and it makes sense. I'm like, oh, this is why. And like Travis and Jay saying there's a moral imperative.
Mhm.
Uh, yeah, I mean, humanity's got to understand what the heck's going on here.
Yeah, there truly is. Yeah, I agree. Something that was brought up and again, folks, and I do talk about it a lot. I know I talk about the insider program quite a bit because I really love being an insider. It's the
As
best.
Shannon drinks from her Skinwalker
I know.
Ranch
Yes,
I
the
have this
hoodie.
drink.
on.
The hoodie.
I've got my hoodie. I
Yeah,
told Jeff I almost wore my hat
Oh,
tonight.
nice. Very
all
I'm
in
cool.
just gonna
black.
keep ramping it up for all the
Yeah,
episodes as we continue throughout. I'll be
yeah,
fully
fully
skinwalkered
skinwalker
out by
by
the
the time.
time we reach the finale.
Man, I'm
That's
slacking on
awesome.
my Skinwalker gear. I'm jealous. I'm
I
gonna.
even
Yeah.
have my little alien earrings in.
Oh, I see. You don't
Oh,
have alien earrings,
wow.
Seth. Come on,
He
man.
could get
I don't either.
them.
I know.
I would need the kind of clip on because I'm not piercing
That
my ear. I'm
works.
I
sorry.
You
was
can
just about to
accessorize
say
your
that.
headphones.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Tonight we are going to be having
Anyways,
a giveaway tonight. And how these giveaways work is that you have to be a member of our Facebook group page, which is the Curse of Oak Island and Beyond hyphen Skinwalker Ranch. And you have to be a member of that Facebook group. And Linda will take, and Linda is helping out tonight again in the chat. She will take and put up a post of the picture of what it is we're giving away that week. That'll be a post, and all you have to do is comment on that post with a yes, not now, but in Facebook when she puts up that post, and that gets you an automatic entry. And then tonight, about halfway through, which we didn't discuss when that was going to be, but I'll just I'll write it on here, and I'll surprise you. Um, so we will bring up Linda. She will do the spin, and then we will give it away. Now tonight's prize for everyone that wants to see what we're going to be giving away. We're giving away this. Let's see here. I guess I gotta set that up first, don't I? Oops, there we go. Okay. And so tonight's giveaway is going to be Reynolds wrap, a free hat in every box for those foil hat. No, I'm teasing. That's not the giveaway tonight. The giveaway is these. These are like postcards,
Ooh,
5
very
by
cool.
7s. And they've got some different pictures of the ranch, homestead too, and all the major players in this. Candace and Tom and Jim and Thomas and Dragon and Caleb, everybody's there. And you can even see Cameron up there flying the helicopter. So that's going to be our giveaway tonight. We'll do that here in just a little bit, and we'll just spin for those. So that'll be a lot of fun. Let's see. Also, if you have not yet, please subscribe to the channel. We really appreciate that a lot. And if you like the content of tonight's episode, please give us a thumbs up. The thumbs up helps a lot. If you want to help support the show, you can support the show by picking up one of these cool travel mugs over here. And I've got a bunch more over there. And I don't.
That's what I should be drinking out of. I need to order one of those, Jeff.
Yeah, I want to get one like there's going to be one for the finale,
cool.
right? For the giveaway?
Yes.
It's like a glow in the dark one.
Yeah,
it looks cool.
That's
I
cool.
want it.
I'll show the picture of it. It is very cool. So let's see if I can find it here really quickly, but I don't take up too much time trying to narrow it down. Let's see. Secret of Skinwalker Ranch. Here it is right here. This is it when it's not glow in the dark, when it's just regular. Okay, you can see it says the Secret of Skinwalker Ranch, and it's got the awesome looking the alien face on it there, of course. And then when it is when it's glow in the dark, it looks like this.
Boom.
Yeah.
Where did that come from?
That is made by Jess Grollo. Well, she buys the tumblers and then she does the engraving. There she is. There's Jess.
Hey, Jess.
Yeah, and you see her standing there with Rick and her husband Mike.
Of those.
Yeah, these are cool. So yeah, you can order one. I'll bet she would actually make you one.
That would be awesome.
Oh, I made that. Yes, she did make that. So yeah, this is her design and everything that she did for that. So yeah, really cool stuff. This is going to be for the giveaway for the season finale. Yeah. So all right. Can people order these, Jess? Can you from blue6laser.com right there? Can you order one and get one of these? Let us know in the chat if you offer those up. So that's going to be cool. Can't wait. I need one of those. I've got my my alien one I've shown, and it glows in the dark too. It's right back there. It's got the alien ship on it and all that kind of stuff. You can give people my number. Really? Okay. Well, Linda,
just announce it right now. No, I'm just kidding. Don't do that.
All right. So that's what's going to be the giveaway for tonight. And then that's the one for the season finale. So really looking forward to that. It's going to be awesome. Let me get back to my regular pictures tonight. This episode again was especially the end. The end of it just blew me away. I again, it just it really they're bringing so much to bear right now. Obviously they're looking at this anomalous area above. Now they're looking at 31 feet above the triangle area. We've seen so many things happen throughout, maybe especially just this season, but it's been going on for quite a while. But all these weird things now we talk about a time shift, a loss of a quarter second. The electric field rise while the electromagnetic field decreased, which does not happen. They work hand in hand with one another, and they're not always exact, but
right. But they'll kind of, like you were showing, they wave. They don't go. Bah.
Right. They don't have a lot of electro field.
Sound effect is my own, not what happened.
I also liked all of this. Normally, I'm the one that talks with their hands. So
yeah,
nice
my wife's always telling me, like, lower your hands. I'll just,
So, and they figured out, how people ask a question all the time. Why do they keep shooting rockets? Well, first of all, who doesn't love shooting rockets? Second of all, it seems to stimulate activity.
That's an important point. I kind of wondered that too, because there's there's a lot of like scary things about the ranch. And so with rockets, you kind of think, well, like, is this going to provoke, poking the hornet's nest? I get it. But what if hornets come out and sting you? Is my next thought. But I think, like you said, it gets a response, and it seems like there's been periods of the ranch where there hasn't been a response for like previous owners. It's hard to know like what happened with the Bigelow era, but with the rockets, like you said, like every time they're getting UAPs, they're getting surveillance showing up.
Like surveillance.
They're getting mortars and rockets hitting each other. Like like what did Eric say? A bullet shooting a bullet. Stuff is happening when they fire up rockets, and it makes for great TV.
Yep. Yeah. Hello, lovely people. Episode 11 was the best thus far, wasn't it? Yes. Missed the revelations last night, hoping for the video to upload soon. Excited to hear what you guys think about it. Thank you. Appreciate that very much. I am Joy. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Hi, Joy.
Yeah, we see her over in all kinds of places.
All kinds of places.
All kinds of places. So, yeah, I mean, keeps kicking the hornet's nest to buckle up. Yeah. So the team decided this time here, they decided to go with a full-on what they called a multiphysics experiment. And they brought out quite a few guys for this. As you can see around this reception, they always have these little reception areas outside of the command center. I love that. But there you got Nathan. He's got the flame.
Throw flame.
That's
flame. His company.
Yeah, that's the name of the company.
I was just like, that's his job.
Throw the flame.
Who wouldn't want a job like that? What do you do for a living? I'm a flamethrower. What?
Yeah, really.
Pretty cool.
That's what I do.
Cool.
And then you got Cameron Prince, of course, Mr. Tesla Coil himself. And then we got Burdette Anderson, who does the high-speed cameras. And then David Mason, he's a technologist and inventor. So they're bringing out everybody on this one. And I thought, oh my gosh, we've had the Tesla coils before, but I mean, have we ever had one that looks like a ray gun? I mean, come on.
And his backpack, which I hope you have a picture of, it was all cool and lit up. It reminded me of Ghostbusters right away.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's like real life Ghostbusters. Yeah.
I do not have a picture of that, but you see it right there. That's it right here.
Yeah, and then the backpack part, at night, LEDs all lit up.
Oh, it was awesome.
It looked like a bunch of like superheroes showing up.
It was great. It doesn't get much better, right? So let's see. Oh, it's Jess has got that added now. It's added to her website. You can go to the website and order one. Yeah, that's awesome.
I'm gonna do that as soon as we're done here.
Yes. All right. Do not cross the streams. I know, right, Jim? Yeah. Don't cross the streams. So don't give Travis one too, because then they would definitely.
Yeah, I want a handheld Tesla coil ray gun thing. That's awesome.
Yeah,
I'm surprised Travis doesn't have one of those rocket launchers for his shoulder.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
They need for him. He needs to just be able to forget everything else.
Somehow you got to control the engine exhaust though, because it'll burn the heck out of you on the way up. But yeah, if you could control that burn, oh man. Oh, look at that. But to open the portal, we're going to have to cross the streams.
Right. Yeah.
Hey, you got to do what you got to do for science, right? I mean, cross the streams. I mean, come on. This Tesla coil projects 600 volts.
Wow.
The flamethrower does about a 2,000 degree, 120 foot flame.
Yeah, that was crazy about the flamethrower when they said how far it can go. That is terrifying. And when you're watching them watch it, the way the whole field, like in the background, was just lighting up each time he blasted the flamethrower.
Oh yeah, and they were like, we could feel that heat.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you've ever been to a rock concert with pyrotechnics,
oh yeah,
you can feel it when they do just those little things, not a 120-foot one.
Yeah,
that was pretty wicked.
Yeah, there's the flamethrower.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that was them getting all set up and everything, or at that in the tents and everything. I think it's really interesting that they purchased that they put up this pad right here with the tower
Hmm.
at the triangle area, knowing that that was the point at which they keep getting these anomalies, right? So then they constructed this. They put a tower in the ground, concreted it right in there, and that's where they conduct most of their experiments. And I believe this right here it's either that one or this one is the well. Remember when they dug the wells back in like season 2, I think it was, when they dug the well?
Hmm.
Man, it has been a bit. Yeah.
Yeah, it has been a bit. And then remember when they had their compasses, regular compass, like a Boy Scout compass, and they were turning and pointing toward the drill rig rather than pointing to north.
Right.
And it was creating a magnetic field by them drilling. And now remember they had that casing went down and actually entered the water that looked like it was moving
Right.
rapidly.
Weren't they having some cave-ins there too?
Mhm.
Wasn't the ground collapsing a little bit?
Yeah, down inside. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. So this area, you put that area with the water that's passing underneath it. I mean, this
Hmm.
is like a Tesla coil in the making, a
Oh,
natural Tesla coil. And
right.
it seems to me like, with everything that's going on in this area, and then you got the water that's moving underneath it. It
Ooh,
just, James Keenan, remember he was there and he predict or found that what looked like the water was coming from through that area. And I didn't know if it
Hmm.
was coming from Bottle Hollow and
right.
making its way down or not, but yeah, just interesting, I thought.
Yeah, very interesting. I hadn't thought of that connection, but you're right. Like, because with the Tesla coil tower, it has to go down into the ground, into running water. That's cool.
hmm Here's when they were getting everything set up for the night to do the experiments. And I was looking at this. Here's another Tesla coil in the background back here that's not the handheld version, of course. But I saw this one sitting back there. I had to, yeah, lots of water running under the triangle for sure. Yeah. Water is a key thing to make note of. Exactly, Jim. That's why I brought that up again, because
Hmm.
it certainly looked like it was moving when they shot the camera down that well pipe. That was like an 8-inch well pipe or something. It was a pretty big one. Maybe it might have been 10. Um, but you could see it looked like the water was actually moving down there,
Hmm.
which that's, yeah, an underground stream of some sort. I don't know. Yeah. Does the Tesla coil have to be grounded? I don't think so. I don't think it is grounded. I think that's what it's trying to do when you light it off, is it's trying to reach ground. Is it not? I think. I don't know. I'm not up on the physics. If anybody out there knows the answer to that question that Jan just asked, does the Tesla coil have to be grounded? And I thought it wasn't, and that's what it was trying to do, is to try to reach ground.
Don't believe it has to be grounded.
Yeah. I think that's why the arcs come out of the top of it, because it's trying to get to ground. I don't know. I don't know. I may be wrong on that. So if somebody knows, please post that. If you're,
Looks like
you know,
Seth is
where's
Googling it.
Travis when you need Travis? We need you on
Seth,
the
are
show.
you Googling it or should I Google it?
I'm looking stuff up. Yeah.
Yeah. This is a picture of Mr. Prince up in the Cameron, up in the thing, and I was trying to capture a picture of him shooting it with the little arcs coming out, and they were all blurry. None of them were coming out well, and I gave up on trying to get it before the show tonight. But that's him in the. And somebody asked that question a while back in one of the ranch revelations. They were asking, why don't you guys try to get up there in a cherry picker? Well, there they are up there in a cherry
Hmm.
picker, and Travis is in one of them. I think Travis is on
I
one
saw
side.
him. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and then
Looked like he
Cameron's
was
in the other.
opposite of the of his. Are they high school buddies? Is that what he had said?
Yeah,
Cameron
College
Prince.
buddies.
I remember watching him on Travis's old show.
mm,
And I believe in that show they talked about uh being friends
mhm.
for like a long time, like maybe childhood friends.
Rocket
So
Yeah.
Secret.
Google says it has to be grounded.
Oh,
There
it
you
does
go.
have to be grounded. Okay.
Even
All
with
right.
the backpack one. So what
Yeah,
was that ground? Was there a cord that came? I mean, was there a thing that came out of the backpack that was grounded to
Yeah.
something?
Yeah, there was a cord hanging to the ground. I did
I
okay.
didn't see
see it
that.
right here.
Must self-ground somehow is what Kat
Yeah,
said.
and I thought that
Yeah.
was power to it, but
That actually
power,
makes much more sense.
yeah.
I was thinking it was like what Jeff had said, where it's like you produce this electrical current and it's like seeking, so it goes out into the atmosphere, but or maybe it's like pulling from the atmosphere. But
No, I'm
I've seen where they
literally,
draw, like they put poles in the
yeah.
ground and it goes to the
I
ground.
feel so dumb right now because I'm literally remembering all the Tesla stuff that I've read, where it's like that was his deal, being able to like take from underneath and like
Yeah,
be able to
yeah, just pull the free
harness the energy that was
Yeah,
already in the ground to somewhere else. So
yeah.
why I was like, no, they don't have to be grounded. I don't know where that came from. Because that was literally Tesla's whole deal, was like being able to provide all of this stuff from the ground. That was
Mhm.
natural energy.
Yeah. Yeah, that was weird. They stuck those, fluorescent lights in the ground, and they were
That's
lighting
what I
up,
was thinking of.
and
Yeah.
they were holding them. There was so much
Yes.
electricity in the air that they were lighting up like lightsabers in their hands.
Yeah,
That's what's
you can hold fluorescence next to some electric like towers and
Hmm.
actually have that same effect.
Yeah.
Or I've seen people on YouTube do it.
Yeah, Duchess said the coil is by default ground. It should be grounded locally for safety. All right, thank you. Appreciate that very much. I knew somebody would be able to gather that up real quick for us. And then, yeah,
It's a good point.
you wouldn't want to be without it
Yeah.
grounded. Yeah, good point. Uh, these are the kind of questions that my teachers would get mad at me for asking. Yeah. Then they got the flamethrower going, and this scene right here when they were talking about this quite a bit. Now the guy, if you remember, he was shooting it out and then letting go. He wasn't at first. I thought, oh, he just changed where he was pointing with it, but he wasn't doing that. From what I saw, he was just shooting it straight out
Hmm.
and then letting it go, and then shooting it straight out, letting it go. What that flamethrower is doing is shooting out obviously a very highly flammable liquid out the end of it, and it's lighting as it shoots out because it's got the flame burning at the tip of the unit. So that's when you're seeing that flame shoot out there. So it's a liquid that's catching on fire as it comes out. So and he wasn't swinging it around to create this arc. So
He wouldn't have even known about what this looked like from this angle
no,
while he was doing it either. Like
no.
he wouldn't have known until he came down and was able to look at footage. I mean, even the idea of having like, I mean, they might have had a two-way communication with them, but it like I can't imagine he even had any idea this was happening.
No, I don't think he did. Yeah, when they looked at it later and they saw this, the way it's splitting around there. Now, Travis had made a comment about how the oxygen in that center area would have been used up and therefore it's seeking oxygen in different spots and that's why it's arcing around. But he said, don't hold me to that. I don't, um, he was trying to speculate of how something like this could happen, or was it being deflected by the anomaly? Because they're right at that level where that weird head-shaped anomaly was seen by when the rocket launched and they saw it on the high-speed camera.
Hmm. Yeah, and the like kind of Travis, his first impression was, oh, it's hitting an anomaly, and then it was like, later as he's trying to explain it, going, well, it could be oxygen, but I think it's interesting that the flamethrower himself said, hey, I'm pretty familiar with looking at uh, my video
Images
of the
of it, yeah.
flames, and I haven't seen it do that before. I don't know if he's looked at that level of photography, or being able to slow it down that much, but it seemed unique to him,
Mhm.
to
I
throw flame. So
I feel like if it were something like this was the only time something in this area had produced this like weird, sort of deflection of where it was meant to go, that maybe it would be easy to say like, oh, it is most definitely probably this other thing. But the fact that this is the same area that we see this happening over and over and over again, and it's the same exact type of behavior, regardless of what's going on there, I think is one of those moments where it's great. You definitely should always look at what it could possibly be. Like, okay, yeah, it could definitely be like it's a possibility. It could be that, but
Yeah,
the
it's
fact that it's combined with the other stuff is what makes it interesting.
right. The shape of it,
Hmm.
it's significant to what comes later with the lidar,
Mhm.
the top of a funnel shape. Or I mean, at first I thought, oh, it looks like a UFO, but then I realized, no, I think we're seeing the side of a funnel.
Hmm.
Yeah. This here, I brought this up. Somebody
If
had
it is an
mentioned the
anomaly.
drops or the spray. Could it be the spray reigniting down here? Yeah. Could it be the bottom flame be from the gas drips? These right here
That's
are
a
your
good
gas,
question.
the mist. You see all this stuff here in the middle. This is your mist that's being burned as it's spraying away. Because not everything is igniting. But could it be? I don't know. They were, and again, we go back to that whole thing saying that these guys, and we find this out when we listen as insiders, we listen to the Ranch Revelations, that we hear them talk about their due diligence that they do to make sure that they rule out all these other things that we don't see on the episode. And they really spend a lot of time making sure it's not this, not that, not this, not that. So, if they're talking about this bending around something, I have to take their word for that they've done everything. They've ruled out all the easy stuff that would cause something like this. Now, the oxygen depletion in that area, I don't know. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, even the words we're using for everything, like bending, we use the same
yeah.
words with rockets. The rockets get bended away. It's
Mhm.
every
Yeah,
everything they throw at it gets deflected or bended away in the
right.
same 30-31 foot spot.
Yeah,
Which is really interesting because when you're talking about the idea of a wormhole, you would think that it would just disappear.
Right,
The
absorb it
fact that
all.
it's just pinging off is very
Mm.
curious.
yeah, it is. Yeah, I find that very interesting myself because
Like, does it have to go down
into
through
it.
it then?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Otherwise, it bounces off the outside of it.
that's what it seems like. I
Yeah, it
mean, I
does. It
don't.
does seem like it. I
That's
mean,
definitely what it seems like, and with Ford, I mean, we're talking about a change in the atmosphere that is so great it can literally deflect flames and rockets and things.
right.
Hmm.
Without, I keep waiting for the rocket to actually go and disappear.
And like be
Make it up
found
to
on
about
somebody else's
30,
property.
right,
Yeah.
make it up to about 30 feet in the air and then disappear. And then a week later, we got a guy from New Jersey going, "Hey, I got this rocket. It says SWR on the side. What the heck is this? It landed. It was in my backyard." Yeah, or somebody from overseas, it would. But that's what I keep waiting for, is something to go into the anomaly and simply gone.
It'll
Maybe that's
pop
what
up
we'll
in
get
their
next week.
yeah, it'll pop up in the Bermuda Triangle.
Pop, yep, but yeah, remember when the tracking showed that thing down
Hmm.
there in
On
Florida?
Beyond.
It was like, "What?"
Yeah, that was at what was that? Was it Mount Wilson Ranch that they
Yeah.
had the GPS anomalies, or
Yes.
what did they call it? They said their data was spoofed,
Yeah.
and that it was spoofed deliberately to show them these coordinates in the
Down off
Bermuda
the Keys.
Triangle.
Yeah, down off
Yeah,
the
and
yeah. That's yeah. What's up with
Another triangle.
that? Another triangle.
yeah,
Too many triangles.
yeah. And so other than kind of seeing that anomaly, it didn't seem like they got a response that night, right? Like until we review the data. I'm trying to
Okay.
think. Was there anything else weird that they noticed? Because
Um,
the Tesla coil didn't really do anything. Seemed like.
no, no, the Tesla coil didn't create any response. The flamethrower, they did get that anomaly moving out of no, it was moving out of the flame area. because I think it was going out. They kept showing it in reverse, looked like it was going in, but I think it was actually leaving the flame area.
Right, and they didn't notice it. That nobody saw it that night.
Nobody
right?
saw it until they reviewed the, and then Travis saw it. He's like, wait.
Hey,
He goes back and he's pointing on the screen, and he saw it. He's always looking for that stuff, and how he saw that, I don't,
Yeah.
But yeah, here's a color image of that. This is in the command center when they're reviewing it, and sure enough, and I know this is terrible. You can't see it in here. I wanted to capture the video of it, but this is that anomaly moving away. There you can see it. It's actually moving away from the flame and made its way out, and then it gets up to about here and disappears.
Yeah, they showed it zoomed in, like you said, so it didn't seem very big if it's coming out of the anomaly. And I had the same thought, or right away I thought, oh, that's like when when the rocket got hit or blew out its motor, and then they saw that light leave. It reminded me of that. And then I think Dragon was the one that brought it up. Where it's like, that's like when we saw the
this
and
year.
and that was the same night the helicopter showed up, right?
Yes. Yeah, this is the night they shot the rocket up, that it was burning as it was, exploding as it was going up, and then the anomaly showed up.
And the blob, yes, okay.
Blob showed up, and they saw this right here. This is the anomaly they saw show up, or the I should say the UAP show up during that.
So we get another anomaly showing up, maybe it's oxygen and flame interacting with the flamethrower. But it's like Shannon said earlier, you add all these other things, like here we're adding another thing to it, a UAP.
I wish we could layer all the screen grabs of to see if it's in the exact same spot.
Yeah, Binks is very interested.
She heard people were saying she was being too behaved, so she decided this time she wasn't going to. I would be really interested to see them layered, to see if it's the exact same area, because that and I mean it's possible that they've done that, and that's why I went to edit, but it's
that
not
is a good idea. Yeah,
shown for us.
More of this, more of that. Said, yeah, great idea. I agree. That'd be interesting to see that, because now they're finding these all showing up around that, and when they're doing the flame there, and it looked like it was escaping, like somebody had mentioned in the chat there, who would want to hang around in that place getting torched? One of the other things that somebody brought up in the ranch revelations that I thought was an interesting question for Brandon, and everybody was so busy with whatever it is they're doing right now. So Brandon was the only one on Ranch Revelations last night, and he talked for, I don't know, it's like 2 hours by himself.
And after working all day.
The man works like 12, 15 hours a day. And then, he stays up and he spends at least 2 hours with us talking about, when he was rapid fire answering questions the best he could.
Give me another one.
Yeah, give me another one. Give me another one. But while he was doing that, somebody had asked the question, don't you feel ever that what you're doing, like the flamethrower, and you're shooting rockets at it, would be perceived, if it was an alien entity of some sort, would it not be perceived as a threat, what you're doing with the flamethrower and the rockets and the ray gun, the Tesla?
Right, yeah, it looks like a weapon.
I mean, here you are standing on a platform and you're going to shoot at the anomaly with a ray gun, and they're like, would that not be taken as a hostile act?
I mean, I feel like at this point, if it was going to be interpreted as a hostile act, we would have heard about it from the other side of it. Also, I liken it more to being like, we must, if it is indeed something that's intelligent, it's all, I feel like we must be perceived as like puppies trying to be kept inside of a fence or something like that. That's how I kind of view it, as like, we're just like desperately trying to figure out a way to find out what's on the other side of the fence.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll change if we figure out a way to the other side of the fence. But right now, I'm sure if there is something intelligent on the other side of it, I'm sure we seem relatively harmless.
Yeah. Shields up, yeah, indeed.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
and I feel like if we or they were going to do something that could truly threaten whatever is there, obviously it has the ability to just go, no, you're not. Equipment failure.
Right? Just like,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
that's it. If they would
yeah.
just like,
I yeah,
It's like little kids throwing rocks at a force field. They're laughing at us, going, "Oh,
that's
you
basically what it feels
you
like. I
people."
mean, it does feel like it's a lot for us. We view it as being very
well,
hostile because if somebody
our
shot a rocket at us or a
Puny little humans.
flamethrower or whatever,
yeah.
we would be like,
Well,
that's not nice.
yeah, and you're I liked what you said about like puppies trying to get out of a cage, but like I just hope that we're as cute as puppies are. You know what I mean? Like I'm not gonna hurt a little puppy. Yeah, right.
They're
Whatever.
harmless. Those
Yeah,
But
humans are harmless.
don't you think though, at
but
this
like
point, there would have been some sort of
Response.
something.
Yeah.
yeah,
And not to say that what we're doing like couldn't possibly be perceived that way, but
Mhm.
yeah.
I mean, there's
Well,
so much not lore. I mean, there's a lot of stories around like nuclear facilities and things. Like if that stuff is all as true as some of the things that we're seeing, then they've had the ability to literally shut down nuclear test sites.
yeah,
Perhaps it's just like you're doing literally nothing to us.
Right.
yeah. I
Right.
think I'm one of the ones that believes that it's aware of their intention as well,
Hmm.
so
Right.
it knows what they're going to do before they do it.
Hmm.
So
And that's why maybe if
yeah,
things change or progress, then the same exact tactics might be met with a different response if the intention changes or if we
mm,
do figure out a way
Yeah.
through what we keep running into.
Yeah.
So I don't
yeah,
know.
Yeah. Well, you look at the fact too that the guys are, when they get their voices, we saw this with Beyond Skinwalker Ranch last night, where their voices are being broadcast back to them, and they're not broadcasting their voices. I mean, they're not broadcasting anything out other than their packs with their microphone packs that they have on. It's just very low power. It doesn't have much of a range on it at all. So somebody is picking up their voices, even when they turn those packs off and all the electronics off, and their voices are still coming back to them on what their receivers. And so are they being surveilled? I would say yes, they are, but by who? Who would be is it the government, or is it
I mean,
is
I'm
it
not gonna
some
lie. It could be both the government and something else. I would
yeah,
almost hope that the
I
government would be surveilling something if this was happening in our country to
yeah,
this degree. If the
yeah,
government didn't know what was happening, I would be a little concerned that,
yeah,
that this stuff could possibly be occurring and they
very
didn't
good.
know about it.
That's a very good point. That's a
Like, I don't think that's the issue. If people are like, oh, is the government surveilling? We should all hope that the government is surveilling. We just don't want them to interfere or take
correct.
over,
Right.
right? Like, that's the difference. Is like, we don't want them to interfere. We don't want them to take away. We don't want them to like gatekeep. But we want to make sure that they have an eye on people literally shooting rockets at possible wormholes. Like, I hope. I really hope.
hey, if I want to shoot a rocket at a wormhole on my property, I don't need Big Brother watching me.
Like, Big Brother does not have to stop you, but
Oh,
yes,
yeah,
please let's watch.
right. I'm
Yeah.
gonna
Oh,
start performing my own experiments right here in Michigan, and,
no.
Well,
I'm gonna, and you're not gonna it's my property, and I'm looking for a
mhm.
wormhole.
I don't
I
know.
I watched Urkel when I was a kid make all sorts of
Oh,
experiments in
yeah,
his basement, and he only blew
same.
up a little bit of Chicago. It's fine.
And he created his alter ego, Stefan. So,
Stefan was cool.
Mhm. Yep.
um, yeah, but who else is surveilling? That's an entirely
Yeah,
different
I
question.
I think it's multiple entities and multiple groups, even within the government,
It's that
maybe that have different
Spider-Man meme.
intentions.
Yeah,
Ye- yeah, yeah,
that's what it is.
yeah. Maybe like ancient AI, like a ancient
Yeah.
craft that's just got its own little force fields. Yeah, there's a lot of could be's and what ifs.
Yep. It's
There
still
sure
amazing.
is, Seth.
Yeah. Oh, there is. Yeah. Amazing. But the thing that they keep finding these little things like this little UAP here that's flying away. We don't know how far away this is or how big it is or anything like that, but it sure appears like it's, coming in and out of this. Is there a portal here? Some kind of wormhole here? Don't know. I mean, it's just weird that took place right there. Again,
it both excites me and terrifies me to think if there's
Mhm.
a wormhole there. And it doesn't terrify me in the sense that like it's scary that there could be a wormhole there. It's more about like what that will mean for everything, because traditionally we've figured out a way to weaponize every single advancement that we've made, and that's the only true worry that I have.
yeah.
I have much more concern about like what man will do with a discovery than like what it like. The other stuff doesn't frighten me as much. Maybe it should.
No, I think you're right. Man is the scariest, or
Yeah.
humans are the scariest entity on the planet that I'm aware of.
I agree.
As spooky as things can get on the ranch, the human element is the scariest. And I think like a lot of people on the ranch could say, like it's the human element that has made a lot of people's experiences with the phenomena negative. Not that people haven't had negative experiences with the phenomena, but
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting, and I'm not sure if it's pronounced Tiana. Said, could there be that their equipment goes in some sort of frequency resonant and creates a field where their voices are just reflected back to them and not transmitted? Yes. Yeah, that's possible for sure. Great thought.
And so could that field, that resonance, that happens when an entity shows up?
Well,
so they become aware of it, or
think about the fact that I'm not saying this is what it is, but think about the fact that whatever that is there can deflect flames and rockets and things. Is it possible that it can also send back
Signals.
like literally
Yeah,
a signal
ooh,
or an
yeah.
echo of some kind? Like
Echo,
you would
okay.
imagine like having an echo, but it's bouncing off of something right in front of them and hit, like is that possible as well?
Or yelling
Yeah.
into a canyon.
Right.
Canyon.
Or yeah,
There you go.
a lot of people, all these entities are
That's right. Echoing during online
checking
meetings.
in, and they haven't muted their mics.
Yeah.
They're going, wait, what's going on in Sedona?
Yeah. See, so exactly. I mean, it was on the show on Beyond last night. It was echoing like that and just repeated, going back and forth, like you're yelling into a tunnel or into a wormhole. Hole. Yeah.
Yeah. Paul was so like, wait, what's happening?
He was pretty freaked out, I think. Yeah. Yeah. We're not transmitting. No, we're not transmitting. Yeah. So I don't know. So, yeah, so you take all of that they did in that first part of the show, the experiments with the flamethrower, the handheld Tesla coil ray gun, and then they had the thermal and the high speed and everything going on, and they captured that UAP. Nothing else that appeared to have happened with that. So then they go to the guy, Jay Stratton, and Michelle should be happy because there he is again. So Jay comes out and he brings with him a team of people, and these guys, here's Jim, the CEO of OmniTeq, and then Shane, and you've got Sam and Tony, and these guys came prepared to really take and do some experimentation here, with the space shuttle. I'm not the space shuttle, but the ISS, International Space Station. Yeah, right, Mike. I agree. So I was like, yeah, I don't need Jay to come on the show. I got Michelle already. So teasing, just teasing. They spent 3 hours at the table talking, explaining things.
Wow. Yeah, they're like Dragon said, their resume is impressive. Their clients, lists of people, Department of Defense, NASA, intelligence community.
Yeah. You looked into this a little bit, did you not? What did you find out about this company?
Yeah, just a quick look at their website. I noticed they had a location here in Texas, up in Austin, and anyways, they have like their own AI, something called Athena, and they can use it for all sorts of purposes. Use it for energy solutions, infrastructure with cities, even like traffic. Yeah, pretty cool stuff. Their logo was like the owl, and it's like a half owl, half
that's
robot.
What really kind of freaked me out.
Yeah, a couple of the guys had shirts with that on it, and that's when I was like, what's Athena? And Athena is their AI. It stands for Artificial Thought Engine Networked Architecture.
I wonder if that's a backronym because
there it
what
is.
Athena. But it's also interesting because the owl symbolically,
right? That's what drew
has
me
always
in.
represented it's represented like wisdom, but also it's pretty synonymous with like the alien kind of deal as well.
Athena will be important in the future.
And
I will remember that, Michelle.
I think part of what Athena does too is like predictive
algorithms. Yeah, that
right?
was something they said. They're going to predict stuff.
It can predict issues that could occur. But for that to work, they have to properly map things, right? Like that algorithm, the Athena to work has to be fed information of the entire picture.
Yeah, and Royston, he listed the people at that table, and their backgrounds are impressive. The guy who started it, Lance, or is it Lance?
Corporal Lance,
General Lord. He was Space Command with the U.S. Air Force for a long time, in charge of missiles and satellites. Like I'm excited to see what this partnership means, and we know that Brandon's on the board. I think this is the beginning of a really interesting chapter on the ranch.
I agree. The fact that this OmniTeq is worked with NASA and the Department of Defense, and Brandon has publicly announced that he's not only on the board, but that they're going to be building something on the ranch, which was announced. I think he announced it on Twitter this week. Should lend a lot of credibility to what's happening there. Because somebody like OmniTeq, who has somebody like General Lance, that's background is the Space Command, and they've worked with NASA and Department of Defense. Those are heavy. Oh yeah, there you go, Mike. That's what I was going to say. Heavy hitters. These are heavy hitters. And not only did they come and work there, but they're like, whatever it is they've discovered has caused them to stay there.
Yes, right. And they're not going to do that just on a whim. There has to be some tangible information there, or something that they feel we need to be here to help discover this.
And they're not going to let their equipment fail. They're not going to, like, there's another one that you always make that point of, like, why would people go on TV and let their stuff fail for ratings or what have you? Like, these people wouldn't do that.
Right.
No, they definitely wouldn't, and they wouldn't put their name behind something,
or their careers.
They were like, unless it was thoroughly checked out.
Yeah, this is exciting.
It's really exciting.
Yeah,
a little frightening, but really exciting. Now I get the kind of combo lead up to this. Brandon's like, you'll need therapy. I don't know.
Maybe. What is something like Athena going to come up with, looking at all this data that they've been accumulating?
That is going to be an interesting.
Oh my gosh! Imagine what Athena has to say, and we're all just like, "This is."
Yeah, it's going to be like, you're right, Travis. It is a Lorentzian wormhole. Here's how you access.
Yeah, exactly.
And then Tesla coils. And then that's it.
And have a drum circle going. That's the key.
The
Oh,
certain
If that,
frequency resonant, that
uh-huh.
certain, what was it, 192 or 200 megahertz
Mm,
frequency?
yeah.
I genuinely hope that if there is some information about how you like make the wormhole work, that they do not put it on national television. I hope that they keep the password to themselves
Yes.
because
thank
there
you.
is
Yes.
too much like that the campground that's right there. Could you imagine? Like it's not like this is often a nowhere place. Like I hope
No.
that they do not tell us if Athena tells them, or I'm being hypothetical, if they for real find out like what can make them access it. I hope that that's something that they choose not to share all the details with.
Yeah, I
Because
agree.
could you imagine some of the people that be like, all right, I'm here to open the wormhole. that sounds like a nightmare.
If
Mhm.
I
Would not
want to
want that.
share the key to the wormhole with everybody in the world, no, I'm kidding. No, you're right. It's like when you have what happens in like a hotel that's haunted, right? That has a haunted room. People go there and some of them open stuff up, whether in good intentions or bad, and then you know, if you believe in that stuff, you can open stuff up that you're not ready for. Uh,
Hmm.
so, if you can do stuff like that in something as innocent as a hotel room, which, you know, I think what it could happen on a Skinwalker Ranch with a wormhole. It's
What's the passcode? It's wormhole 1. Oh.
Oh my
one,
god.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, 1,
That's right.
2,
But
3.
in drum beats.
Exclamation point.
You need a capital letter in there too, okay?
Oh,
Yeah.
that's right.
Oh, there
Yes,
you go.
yes. Okay. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
all until the portal opens, right?
No,
Oh,
it's
that's good one.
serious business. I feel like we have to make jokes so we don't like have to
Baseballs.
really face what it could mean.
That's
It's
exactly right.
terrifying.
We have to laugh about it a little bit simply because
Mhm.
the ramifications are terrifying.
Oh, literally shatter like every like
Yes.
this would be a huge undoing of like what we've always known. There's a difference between imagining something and
Mhm.
sort of hypothetically fantasizing about things like we've
Mhm.
done through literature and movies and all of those things
Yep.
and stories, and then something actually happening, because I
Yep.
think it's very easy to romanticize an idea than to actually like be confronted with the reality.
Yep.
And
Yeah,
Exactly.
I'm ready. I'm ready. Bring it. This show's already been doing that to me,
I know,
Shannon.
right?
It has. There's been moments of this show this season and previous seasons where things have happened, like with the drum circle, lighting up the stone
Yep. And
circle on
those
a
2
clear
anomalies
camera.
go choo, choo
Yeah,
into the mesa.
to me, that was a big like. It's like I know music is magic. It can affect and change
Oh,
things.
absolutely.
I feel it, but like that was like, like you said, like you can know things, but to like really know it and like this is
Yes, April.
100% fact. This is not something
but that's
theoretical anymore. Like
us. That's us who are watching this show, who are like in it. Even
you're
just
talking
people
about the
that watch.
broad public.
I'm talking about the public, like my next door neighbors that probably have never even heard of the show, like
Right.
that aren't like this isn't just applicable to us as people interested in this.
That's
This
true.
is literally applicable to all mankind.
Yes.
I
Like
I get
it's
it.
the entire
Yeah.
human race.
I get
Agreed.
excited, and I think everybody is like
Should
as
also
convinced as I am that Bigfoot's
no.
real. They're
It's not even
interdimensional,
about
ultra terrestrial. Like,
it's not even about convincing, it's about literally shattering like reality for people. Like it could I'm not saying it in the way that like people have talked about in the past where
well,
everybody like burns down buildings and like all of that stuff.
yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
saying that at
It can
all.
be a beautiful thing. I think, like us coming
I
out of the cave,
agree.
right? Like we were talking about the cave last night
Plato's
with
cave.
the yeah.
Yeah. I'm not saying that it's a bad thing. I just think some people might be more prepared for it than others.
Yes.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Well, I mean, Brandon said we're going to need therapy, and he
Perfect. I
needs
hope
to
he's
make
paying for it.
good on that promise.
Is he going to pay for the therapy that he's given us, causing us to
Yeah,
have?
really.
Yes. Yeah. See.
It's a good question.
I can
We're
see.
going to be the therapist for the rest of the public. We're like, we've known about
exactly.
this.
Right. I think
Let us
you're right.
talk you through the stages.
Yeah.
All right. So before we go on to the next portion, let's do our giveaway. It will cause panic. It could cause panic. Yeah, it could, Christina.
But see, April's with me. She's ready for a good shatter.
Yeah. I mean,
I am too.
then again,
I'm not saying that I'm not.
mindsets, That's your
Yeah.
different mindsets of people. So
I'm just thinking like lots of people that don't want, like they're dealing with enough right now. Like they don't.
yeah,
No,
right.
I don't know.
Look what's happening to our country, and you want me to accept this right now?
I mean, I don't.
I've got bills to pay. I don't have time for alien spacecraft and wormholes.
I don't know. I think it could be like the wait, there's aliens and wormholes. I'm gonna go form that band I've been talking about. I'm gonna go take the art class. Why am I I think it inspires.
I think that I absolutely think that there's probably a group of people that for sure will do that. I just think that like this is the one thing that I do actually study very closely, and it's the psychology of. I mean, the psychology of individuals confronting the idea of disclosure is something that I've been seriously looking at for like the last 6 months. Wow. And I'm not saying that it's not going to couldn't be wonderful for a lot of people. I'm just saying that there is still going to be like for these poor innocent bystanders that like that just want to live their like life. That don't want it.
Well, I mean, I think they will. I think they will. They'll go, it might shatter them, but then they'll, okay, well, it doesn't affect me. I still got to do this or that.
We could have we could have a whole episode where we just talk about this stuff.
Yeah, right. Well, my fear is always that it's used as a reason to not rip the Band-Aid off or to not tell the truth. Well, people could panic, and
I don't agree with that.
Now it's like if you cover something up because you don't want to scare people, but then the cover up itself becomes scarier than the thing you're covering up. I feel like that's where we're at with a lot of this, where anyway. So
I don't think that should be the case at all. I absolutely don't think that should be the case. I'm not saying that it should be used like that. I just want to make sure. I hope that there are literal safeguards in place to handle certain types of people, because it will inevitably happen. If you were looking at like if you're thinking about the possibilities in an emergency situation, how you have to handle different types of things. I'm not saying that it shouldn't happen. I'm saying that I hope that safeguards are in place for when it does happen for certain groups of people, because it will be necessary.
Yeah, you just reminded me of a great book written by Robert Silverberg, and it was based on a short story written by Isaac Asimov. And it's this planet that has 3 suns, so it never knows darkness. The whole planet is always in daytime, so they never really have true nighttime. But every 3,000 years, the planets like get into an eclipse, and they can actually see darkness, and they can see the stars, and they can see the universe that they're in that they didn't know they were in before that. And it follows these scientists that are discovering what's coming up. And this archaeologist realizes that every 3,000 years, civilization burns down and then has to start over. And they realize why it burns down. It's because everybody's mind is blown when they see darkness. And some people get really scared and they burn down civilization, and religion has to like build them back up again. But Nightfall, great book, and you just reminded me of it. Sorry to go down that.
Oh, that's pretty cool. I like that. Yeah, that's that.
Yeah, and they burn everything because they're trying to. We need the light. We need the light to come back. So they just set everything ablaze, and they're sorry, Jeff.
No, that's interesting, because that kind of goes along with what you were talking about some people will not be able to handle when it happens.
I think a lot of people, though, in general, are just going to be like, "Oh, another science thing," and it is what it is. I'm mainly concerned about the ones that have a predisposition to.
Yeah, no, your point about having safeguards, I think, was really, really good, and that's not something that I think is ever brought up. I've never heard anybody even be like, we should have things for like, what would that look like?
Well, that's right. like who's even talking about it, that you could even train someone to give proper mental health care to individuals that might have a reaction to something. Like that conversation has never happened.
Right.
I don't imagine,
Wow.
at least not publicly. Like it's even iffy to start talking about parapsychology as an actual field. I mean, it is right now, we are just starting to break through in regular psychology, being able to talk about people who are in grieving, seeing or having these like unusual experiences with their lost loved ones, and being able to say like that's a normal healthy part of the grieving process, that's okay. But like just now are we having that conversation. So when you think about extending it out into these much bigger things, like who's prepared to handle that mental health wise? And again, this is way off topic and we've gone down a deep rabbit hole, but it's like, if we're talking about it in seriousness, that's all I'm hoping. I'm just hoping that there are safeguards in place. I'm not against any of it.
Yeah.
It's a great thing to think about. I'm glad you brought it up because, you're absolutely correct that the truth of that sort of thing will set some people ablaze, as and some of us. I mean, look what's happening already. And I'll say this, and then we're gonna get on to the giveaway.
The giveaway, the happy stuff. Sorry, got
No,
dark.
Yeah, people couldn't handle COVID. Yeah, exactly. What? Yeah. So, but it's a great thing to think about the fact that some people are gonna, the way they've started to, let this feed out a little bit. Now they're having congressional hearings talking about it, and you hear what's happening in the media. It's like nothing. Here they are having these meetings, and I'm catching it on YouTube, but are the media talking about it going, oh my gosh, they're having congressional hearings saying that these UAPs are real and they don't know what they are, and da-da-da-da. And they're like, everybody's, nobody's paying attention. And it's like,
I
that's what
know.
they wanted.
I get hush hush text messages from friends because they'll
Yeah.
like see my tweets sometimes, and then they'll be like, hey, can we talk about this UFO thing? Like they have to do it in secret because it's not even talked about like in a normal way. I'm like, yes.
Yes.
Yeah. I agree. The stigma's still there for a lot of
It is.
people.
It is. It is. And
But the
it's
curiosity exists widespread.
Yeah,
I know.
absolutely.
Yeah. I got a point to bring up about Brandon and his property toward the end too. I'm going to talk about a little bit, but all right, let's do the giveaway real quick. And this is what it is. So this is these five. There's 5 of these 5x7 like postcards, and we're going to give those away here. And Linda's going to come on, and she's going to do the spinaroo. Hi, Linda.
Hello.
All right. So you got the spinner all ready to go?
I do, and I'll do this quick so you can get back to this discussion.
I know we're off on
I know.
solar layout. All right, let's go. So this is to get the 5 postcards, and you do have to be present to win. So if the there we go. And if you're not here, we'll give you some time to answer and let us know that you're here. I like the way you changed the background to black. It works a lot better. Kathy Bayless Howard.
Right.
Is Kathy here? Let us know if you're here, Kathy. I haven't seen that name pop up.
I don't know. I saw her
Let
in
us
our
know if you're
group
here,
earlier today.
because you have to be present to win. I'm here, she said. Well,
I'm
let me
here.
see.
There you go.
Oh, there she is.
Hey.
All right. Over on the YouTube side. All right. I mean, on the Facebook side. Cool. Very
Great.
good.
So if you'll get me your address in a private message, I'll get that mailed out to you on Monday.
All right. Congratulations.
Fun.
Yeah.
See you
Good
guys.
job.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Linda. So I was gonna say, well, before I get to that, let's move on. Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
No,
We went
I
on like
feel
a
like I
huge
was finished on
tangent.
that.
No, that's
I'm
it.
like,
That's
wait,
that
tell
discussion.
everybody everything.
Yeah,
And Shannon's
but
like, hold on,
it's
Seth.
you're so true on that. Talking
my
about the fact
office.
that people are going to need therapy. Some people they're not going to be able to handle it. I mean, it's a fact of life. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking
Me
forward.
too.
It's going to scare the crap out of me when we get the Close Encounters of the Third Time ships appearing out of the cloud and shoop, 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 and there's no doubt in anyone's mind, oh my gosh, look what's happening here.
Hmm.
I look forward to it, but I'm also frightened by it at the same time. Like we said earlier,
Yeah. I don't know if I would. Yeah, I would. I think if something like that happens, the crafts just show up, and then people are like turning at the government, like, "Wait, you knew and you didn't tell us this is coming?" Like,
What?
And they have
But
been.
Yeah.
so wait, if we find out, all of a sudden they'll be like, "Okay, guys, let's turn our our invisibility shields off." They know, and our whole sky is just filled.
every
Like-
every
Filled with
cloud
shit,
is
yeah.
a UFO.
What if once we find out, they just disappear? They're like, "Oh, well, we can't play these tricks anymore,
Yeah,
so
the
let's go."
experiment's over.
Yeah,
They're like, this was fun while it
God.
lasted.
yeah. It was fun fooling these zoo animals, but now
Yeah,
it's
like
time to
this
go.
is, if we can't mess with them, what's the point? And then they just
Mhm.
leave.
Was this? I live in a town of 2,300 souls. 2,250 have never considered anything about aliens or even UFOs and UAPs. See?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That we know. Secretly, they're texting Linda, "Hey, let's talk about the UFO."
It
All
happens.
right.
No,
So
point
the
taken.
the next part of the show, as we move along here, the next part of the show, they go over and they start to actually look at tracking this signal coming from the ISS, the International Space Station, as it passes over. And you guys know, if you paid any attention to that, I like to watch it sometimes. I like to go to the feed and watch the ISS.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
look out the different cameras and stuff. I think it's fascinating to me. But they decide to check out the ISS and actually track its signal as it's passing from horizon to horizon over Skinwalker Ranch. And immediately they set it all up and they start to, this is the signal coming through on the spectrogram or what piece of equipment they were using to actually pick up the signal. You see it there. That's this line in the center. And again, and here is where Eric was picking it up on his equipment. On his, this is the actual spectrogram, I believe he's got here. The Air Spy SDR. Okay. Anyway, that's what he's using, and he's actually tracking it there. And then they lose the signal as it gets basically overhead. That's what they said.
Mm-hmm.
It got, now this would go on for about 8 minutes from the time they can pick it up until it's passed far enough away that they can't anymore. About 8
And
minutes.
so my understanding was they're tracking it, and they're tracking it through the anomalous area of the triangle, and they're going to see if anything happens with their ability to track it through the anomaly area.
Correct.
And they also have a drone getting flown that's doing Lidar on the anomaly as well.
Well, they
While that's
showed
going
that,
on.
but I didn't see the, yeah, they
Well, the
showed
drone
it.
got, yeah. Okay. So yeah.
They
So
couldn't take off.
yeah. So on the drone is going to look at the area while they're sending or getting the signal, tracking
Right.
it over the.
Right.
Okay.
But the drone could not launch. The GPS.
So the drone got shut down in addition to their everything else, right?
Well, the
It was-
drone never got to launch because the GPS, I forget how he said. Let me look, and I know
No,
it's
it got it.
already- no.
Well, it didn't get up the first time, but it got up, right?
Correct. But he had GPS failure the first time.
Ah, of course.
When he tried to launch it the first time, he had GPS failure. Let's see here. I'm looking in my notes here real quick because it failed. The GPS failed. So they couldn't launch the drone. GPS dropped and they had to reboot.
Yeah,
the
you're
drone.
right. It didn't connect to the GPS.
Right. And so, and then as the ISS, basically they set up underneath the anomaly. Okay. So that's when you say it passes through because they're set up and receiving the signal
Oh, okay,
directly
right.
in the triangle underneath the anomaly. So it has to pass. The anomaly has to be between them at some point.
Yeah.
Mhm.
As it does, as it gets up there, they lose the signal. Then Eric and Travis's computers crash. And then all of a sudden the signal's picked back up. Now, Eric still had it on the one on the let's see. This whoops.
And didn't
There-
they pick it back up where it shouldn't have been? Or like
Yes.
they were
Well,
they
they
were
said it was stronger. They said it was stronger. So here's
right, okay.
here's what this portion that Eric was looking at never dropped. He did lose it. The computer did crash. He brought the computer back up, but he kept the signal when the other signal, the other computer, which was tracking this signal, dropped, and they lost all communication. So then, as it cleared the area, and then it was actually passing almost back to the horizon on the other side, it picked up the signal again. This unit here did, and the signal was actually stronger than it was anytime previous to that.
Right. So that was what confused me. Like, how would it be stronger than directly over them?
Right.
Is it that bending again, like happening?
Maybe.
Well, think about what we were talking about having a signal sent back to you.
Yes.
Like maybe it was more intense because it was doing the same thing. Not the same thing as the echo necessarily, but like having that signal blasted back to you, would that make it stronger? If it was being influenced with that. Does that make sense? What I'm saying?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a good question. If somebody is there an app for tracking the signal of the ISS? Does anybody know?
I don't have an Android. I use StarMap 3D, and it has the International Space Station on there with some other satellites that you can find the location of.
I use one that's called just Satellite Track. I have a couple, but Satellite Tracker I think it does have the ISS on it. You also can do I have an alert on my phone. It is, I believe, through the ISS website, so it must work for Android and iPhone. And you can literally have it set where it will send your phone an alert when it's about to pass over you.
Oh, really?
And it just pops up like a notification, so you'll always know when it's nearby if you go through that. That was through the literal ISS website though, or NASA website.
Yeah, I've got Skyview, and Skyview does show you when it's up there. Night Sky, yeah, there's a couple of different ones. Night Sky, Sky Watch, Skyview. Skyview is cool because it shows you all the planets.
Yeah, I use StarMap because I like looking at the constellations and stuff. But it has like the option to select different satellites, and
I have 3 different ones. One is for satellites, and one is I think what Jeff is doing right now, which is called Star Tracker Light, where like you move it around and it will show you like it moves with
that's
you.
cool.
So I can like line it up to the sky.
You can can you look underneath you?
Yeah, like you can
and see what's on like the other side of the planet.
Because sometimes when I'm outside, I'm like, oh, that's really bright. What is that? I don't know that. And then sure enough, you can.
There's the ISS.
Exactly what it is.
I'm looking at the ISS.
Jeff's looking at the ISS.
Yeah, it's down on the floor over here.
Magic. Pure magic.
It is.
It is. Imagine they had to like draw on the side of caves to track stars.
Yeah, exactly.
What a time to be alive.
Yeah. We're it's like you said earlier, you know things, but you don't know. I know cell phone, it sends a signal up in the air, but I don't know this. I'd be helpless. Send me back in time. Be like, oh, we used to be able to look at a black rock and touch it and know where you're at on the planet. They'd be like, okay, weirdo.
Yeah.
I heard this thing recently that literally like changed how I think, which was imagine the fact that they sailed across the globe and they made these maps, right? They made these maps, and then along came our like satellites, and they were like, hey, these maps are actually pretty good.
Yeah,
like this actually matches. This matches like what we thought it was by literally just like sailing and drawing out these maps. Ended up being very accurate, and that is mind-blowing.
Most of them are very accurate. That's crazy.
How is it even possible? I don't even I wouldn't be able to do that.
Map makers at the time were really, really good. I mean, they were. And we get over on the Curse of Oak Island side of the podcast.
Mind blowing.
then we look at maps a lot over there, and yeah, it is mind blowing how they figured that out, and they were so accurate.
I mean, imagine when we finally got that satellite up there and like, wow, this is exactly right.
Yeah.
And this map is 500 years old. It's just really, really wild to think about.
Yep. This picture here shows that after they got the drone working and they said, let's get that drone up in the air. The GPS, we had to reboot it and everything. And so they get the drone back up in the air and they want to shoot this rocket off.
Of course.
Right away.
Shoot a rocket.
Get a rocket up there and track the rocket with the Lidar, which was the cool part of it.
Yeah.
We hadn't had that before. So they do. And you can't really see this. It's hard to tell. I'm going to use my little highlighter here. But this section right here is, and you can see it up here on the top, this up here, that is the rocket. Now, as the rocket launched, the Lidar imagery got messed up and pushed around in this pattern. Now, as soon as I saw this, I thought, well, that's the pattern of the anomaly from the photogrammetry.
Yes. Yeah. And yeah, that they were saying it should be a tight line, but no, it got pushed out. And Travis used the words like this wave, like here I go talking from hands, this wave like pattern.
No, we need the hands.
but I had the same thought as you, Jeff. I thought it's that photogrammetry tower looking thing.
We've seen this before.
Yes.
And it's literally like the flame thrower or whatever. Throw flame. Where it's like if we have it over and over again in the exact same area doing the exact same thing, then it becomes as repeatable as it possibly can be given the circumstance. Like when you're talking about repeatability in science, even the errors are repeatable, and even though they're being done in a different way, it's still something that we're continuously seeing.
Exactly.
Right. So,
through multiple experiments.
Yeah.
So they sent up another rocket right away, and the second one, they get nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Yeah, which is bizarre in itself. It just wiped it away, like or masked the Lidar. Like, how do you totally block a Lidar laser to just not perceive something like a rocket?
The only way I can think of that is that they intentionally did not want it to show that again.
Yeah, so the first one, they push the lasers somehow in a wave-like pattern. And then the second one, they totally mask the rocket. So the lasers, did they go through it? They just didn't pick it up? Like,
well, my question is, if you're talking about Lidar, doesn't Lidar work by like reflecting off of something?
Yeah, it shoots a laser and bounces it back.
Right. Many
but if something were
thousands of times, super fast. It can pick up like
so something could be like absorbing it instead, or
just pass
bouncing it back to you in just like a scattered manner, right? Like if you're throwing in a straight line things, then it can be coming back at you in a scattered manner depending on how it's hitting what it's hitting.
Yeah, like the disperse pattern, that was interesting to me. The second rocket totally not showing up, that blew my mind because I didn't think that you could trick Lidar like that.
Something did.
I wanted to know right away.
Unless it absorbs all the light, because when you're talking about like black holes, right? Like there's no light that's escaping out of a black hole. That's like it is literally the absence of color. So nothing can reflect in a black hole.
But it just removed the rocket. And the rocket's moving. So I don't know how.
Well, maybe it was just that one spot. I don't know.
Yeah. It's an amazing. So they wanted to repeat it. They wanted that repeatable. They wanted that repeatable, but it didn't happen. This time it was completely blocked, or appears to have been blocked.
Time shifting of the data. Yeah, see, there we go with time.
Yeah, if it's working off of GPS, that would do it because it's not being able to hit because GPS works with time.
Yes, Craig said the rocket should have shown up. Yes, it should have shown up a second time. So the fact that it didn't is significant. What does that mean? I don't know. But it is significant that it did not show up the second time. And it should have.
Yeah.
No
Travis.
reason why it shouldn't have.
Yeah.
Again,
Stuff. Yeah. Time and light manipulation that's been happening. It's
the bounce back, the reflectivity of things. And then we get to the final analysis when they get to the command center and they look at the LiDAR data and they back up a little bit. And they see this right here. And I honestly, when I look at this picture, I'm just
We need to see the picture. The picture's not up on the screen.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. There you go.
I could see Linda waving her hands down below.
Yeah. You don't have a picture up. You don't have a picture up. And
Right.
I'm looking at it going, my gosh, what is this?
Mind blowing.
So
I don't know.
It looks like the same shape as whatever the fire was going around in the sky. I know Travis used the words, what did he say? Shadow of a wormhole? Like, so is this something in the air that you're just seeing the shadow of it on the ground, or is this on the ground?
I love
out
that
of the ground?
Is that them standing over
there?
Yeah,
it's
I never noticed that before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is that tower that
Oh my gosh, that's terrifying.
Here's an antenna, and here's all the camera people, and there's a guy with a camera right here. You can see he's holding a camera.
I wish that they had walked into the center of it.
Yeah.
They should have done it again and then had all of them stand there to see what happens.
So Jim says something's blocking the laser beams.
Yeah.
And Travis said 100% fact, something is bending the light. What can do that? I mean, I guess they speculate as to what can do that.
Yeah.
I'm struck by just how entirely black it is.
Yeah.
Like it is fully, when I first saw it, I thought about like when they've tried to manufacture the like darkest black that they can here on Earth. Like there's no, because it's just.
Yeah, right, Maura. They're right next to it. I thought the same thing. I would have seen that and go, "Oh, I'm standing right on it."
I almost fell in it.
But they've crossed through that area so much. That's why I'm wondering what would happen if they repeated this with them standing there.
Right.
Like, do they disappear too? What if someone stands on the edge of it and half of their body's in and half of their body's not? Are they going to show up half and half?
Does it follow them around the ranch?
Oh, that would be really creepy.
Yeah. There's some stuff in here that I kind of want to know what it is.
Yeah. So the other black area is shadows.
Shadows.
So is this a shadow then?
That looks like it could be one of those posts.
Fence posts.
It's probably a fence post, but I mean, it looks like it's walking. And it looks like it has a big head right here.
Mm-hmm.
And
I don't like that. Make that stop.
I see it now. I see it. Yeah.
I don't want that image in my head. She's just like, oh, just heading back.
Yeah.
It's all alien and it's heading for the hole.
Yeah. So the hole, if the other black stuff in the picture are shadows, like Jordan was saying, then is the big black spot a shadow from something in the air?
From the 31-foot wormhole? Is that
from exactly, which is the same shape as what the flame was hitting and has the funnel shape that they talk about.
Mm-hmm.
This is crazy to me right here, because this is like, well, okay, let's move to the next picture because that helps to explain it. Now, there it is again. This is the one. This is the one that kind of blows me away.
Yeah, Travis says zoom out.
Yeah, zoom out, and they do. And the red circle around here is the area of what the highest reflectivity.
Yes.
Okay. And then you go in and it gets weaker and weaker and weaker until you get to the point in the center when there's no reflectivity at all.
Mm-hmm.
We just lost Shannon. Okay. Oh, she just stopped for a second. So, I mean, and why is it a perfect circle? And it has a very defined edge. I mean, look at that edge right there. and then up here
Yeah.
you got it here, up here as well. I'm not drawing very well, sorry.
Yeah.
But I mean, it has a very defined edge. Why? Why would it? Why did the lidar show this bullseye like this?
Are we seeing like how crop circles work, but like through a different form, or like maybe what we're looking at it, it's a fourth dimensional entity, but we can only see this slice of it.
Wouldn't it be crazy if crop circles were just like hole punches for
Oh,
wormholes?
wow.
Right.
Yes.
Like, you know how it'd just be like, I'm just going to open one here and it leaves
Yeah.
an imprint in the grass, but really it's messing with everything else.
Yeah, so the
Yeah.
center is sucking up all the light, or
Yes,
it's just
that's
not
what I think.
reflective at all.
Right. It's not reflective at all. What does that mean? It means it's absorbing. Doesn't you? If you think about colors, white reflects every color, right? Is that what it is? And then black absorbs every
Absorbs
color.
it.
Yeah.
So if black is absorbing every color, in my brain, and I'm not an educated in this field of this type of stuff, but this black area is absorbing the lidar.
Yeah, I had the same
Signal,
thought,
or
Linda.
the
I have
laser.
Sauron right away.
Yeah, it's absorbing the laser.
Yeah, so if black is if there's nothing there
No
to
reflectivity.
reflect the light. Yeah, there's
nothing there to
there.
reflect the light.
Oh, but yeah, I had the same thought. I think I even said it in the Discord, Jeff, where I was like, "The Lord of Mordor sees all."
Yes.
When
Well,
I
it's
saw
so
this.
strange how everything looks like an eye, though. Just like
As
like
above, so below.
everything does. So like,
I think it's weird how it has a definite shape to it. You know, you have this and then it goes out and around and it goes back in over here like that. That shape to me is just odd. Why? Why is that? And if you look at the other picture, you know, before that one there, I mean, it looks like, you know, you got this rounded or this edge here, and then it comes in and then a point and then around and then in, and here it is again on this side. That's just too odd. I mean, if it was a perfect circle, that'd be one thing, but having it be a shape that's symmetrical in that way, I don't know.
Right.
I mean, that's just
Yeah.
weird, isn't it? I don't know.
it's got such a sharp edge on the side
The
of
light.
it too.
Yes,
So the
yes.
light did
Very
not
sharp edge.
return. Mike's point, the light did not return. So the laser just never came back.
Right. It never bounced back to the source.
What?
Yeah. There can be several reasons why. What are they? Tell us,
Yeah,
Mike.
tell us,
What are the
Mike.
reasons? 'Cause I
Tell us
have
all
no
the
idea.
reasons.
Yes, I have no idea. I'm completely baffled by this, and so are the guys, obviously.
You know what it looks like? The way that it's dispersed around it too is a crater. Not saying with the black spot in the middle, but where you're seeing the red and all of that.
Oh,
That looks
yeah.
like those big crater, like where there's been a meteor, like you've had something
Meteor impact.
high
Yeah, yeah.
impact.
It
to
looks
the
like there's like it's getting some sort of force. There's that yellow line that's perfect, but the red is looks like it's like getting like a
right, the
color
way that
bomb.
it's sort of like splattered out. It
Yeah,
literally
yeah.
looks like it was hit with force to create it, for it to have that like very clear yellow, but then the red runoff is odd.
Mhm.
And then the center, it's clearly something above it casting that shadow down, and then right. If it's like if it were hypothetically a wormhole,
Yeah.
right, it would absorb all the light from underneath it. Like
Right.
would it?
I think it would, yes.
Yeah, I would imagine so.
I
That
mean,
it would literally take everything, because there's
because they say a wormhole, when the center of a wormhole, not even light can escape. So it sucks it right in.
right. Even around the edges of a black hole,
A black hole.
when you're looking at a black hole, I suppose it's not the green and the width of what we're seeing around this small area of black, but the very red, the yellow and the red, that's actually not too dissimilar to what we see with the black hole. As well as we can like image that together, because we haven't, we've got that one image, or like that one batch of images that they've been able to put together. Because how do you photograph something that doesn't have any light? being able to catch the end of it. We know that it always stuck out to me, the description of black holes being messy eaters. That's how I think of them. That's like, I don't know who I heard say that, a scientist talking about black holes being messy eaters when they're eating stars. And it's almost like they have like star all over their mouth. So that's what I think of when I think of like how light is dispersed around a black hole, because they're messy star eaters.
Yeah. You know, you talk about the triangle, and where is the triangle? The triangle is here. And you got the eye on top of it.
Dun, dun,
Flipped it over. So
when did you figure that out, Jeff? Is this something you were waiting for the right moment to show us?
Well, no. I mean,
there's that Masonic symbol.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
On the rocks.
All-seeing eye.
There, yeah.
Right. The symbol
on
that
the dollar
means
bill.
As above, so below.
I don't know. That's why I flipped the thing over so you could see that the eye is on top of the triangle.
So it was absorbed or reflected or bent at an angle that did not return light to the scanner. So that's why they would say things like wormhole, because wormholes require space-time bending to travel or connect. Yeah, here we go. That picture. Okay.
Remember when they shot the rocket? I didn't show a picture of it, but remember when they shot the rocket in the beginning of the episode?
Yeah, and it
got to about the 30-foot level, and it shot off to the right, and then it straightened back up.
At 70-ish feet, it straightened back out.
Is all the scattered data that we see, is it underneath there? You know, like when we see stuff that's scattered underground, is it underground there?
Oh, I don't know. They didn't show.
Yeah. And then it's like there was that the data that went the same distance that it takes from the ground to get into space, right?
Yes, 600.
Right. So it's really interesting if we think about like when they've done stuff and it's shown like this weird path and it's gone like underground. I wonder if it's showing up in that area, because some of it's been like.
Yeah. And then they always get the 1.6 gigahertz. So it's like every time the portal is opening up, okay, we're going to send another UFO through to space. And then they communicate up to the watchtower up in space. And like, is Skinwalker Ranch just like a space gate, you know? And it's the waiting room is in the Mesa.
Yeah, it is.
Well, I mean, I think we've talked about the idea of it being sort of like a way station, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it makes sense with all the 1.6 communication. Oh, this is for space communication. And then
then they pick up a signal and they get some sort of a response. So you see a UAP at that point.
Like air traffic control.
Yeah, exactly. You're
clear. Like, oh, you're clear to go.
Yeah.
They're not shooting rockets at it right now. You're
good. Yeah, you're good to go. Yeah, waypoint, navigational point.
And you see the orb fly off, or you see, you know, okay, they're done drumming. Go ahead and those big lights that went down into the Mesa.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe maybe those vibrations mess up the frequency of their communication, and that's why we get a response. Sort of like if our power went out or something, we'd go look at the power lines or try to figure out why our power went out. So maybe it's like we're disrupting their signals and they're investigating when we do this stuff. We're just literally harassing them nonstop.
Annoying humans. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Right. I mean, I don't know. I'm just, if we're thinking hypotheticals.
I've always felt like that's how the whole Skinwalker curse worked, where it's like they knew some energy thing portal was there already, and they were able to manifest this thing. So it's not like they cursed the land. It was already there. They just used it for nefarious purposes at that time.
That book that was given to Eric that I read, there is a part in it where the person who's writing the book talks about sort of traveling. The way that it's described is almost like you'd imagine remote viewing, but traveling. So they're traveling on a different plane, is the best way I can explain it. And getting to a certain area. And this is like the only part in the book where it was like, I don't know what this is. They didn't really give me any answers, but I left. And it was essentially like coming upon this area where elders were, but these would have been long past elders because this is on a different plane. And they were doing something that was like protecting what seemed to be, the way it was described, a portal. Literally like in this inner, like trying to protect access to it, or like make sure that it wasn't messed with. They were like guarding this area of the land in their like afterlife, perhaps, the way that it was written. This is obviously Navajo, and I'm not going to even begin to pretend like I'm any type of like that I can understand it, nor be any type of voice for it. But that story does exist in this book that was written by this Navajo woman. And it was about the story of the circle. And we do know that the book was of very high interest to Eric. So I kind of took that into account when I read it, to see like what could possibly be applicable given the fact that it has such high importance.
I chose to be a baby about it, and I did not read it. I saw it was one of those things where I was like, I don't know if I'm ready to poke that that nest.
Well, we only read a little bit of, like, I've only read a little bit to people because it's his thing, and
yeah.
But before I sent it out to him, I read it. And like one sitting, and I had dreams about it because it was a lot.
Bet. Yeah,
because it talks about basically this from the, an Indigenous perspective, and like the Skinwalker and all of this stuff. But that always stuck out to me, that one part where it was talking about sort of this interdimensional like elders guarding what seemed to be. And there was also a part where there was able to control like small weather systems, it seemed to be in that same area. So it's interesting when you take that and apply it to the fact that like specifically above the ranch or in the basin, there's very odd weather systems that we see, and it's been commented on, like it doesn't look normal.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, wasn't one of the planes that flew over the ranch, weren't they like some weather and magnetic anomaly service, like scanning? It was some like branch of the government that studies weather and magnetic anomalies on Earth, and they were just flying over the ranch in a grid pattern. It was like, what are they? Something
trying to map it, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think taking that information into account as being part of, like, we know that they've obviously known things that we've had to develop science for, like,
well, and
technology for.
Yeah, the one thing I was going to comment on too was the fact that so many and you talk about Travis and Eric and the team and all the different experiments that they've done now that have shown something. Each experiment that they've done, almost every single one of them, has shown in its own experimental way something's happening in this area, whether it's photogrammetry. I mean, all the different things that they've done. You add that to what you were just saying about the natives and the fact that on the rocks and you have the rock spiral up there on top of the mesa, that the indigenous people said there, and they still say today, there was a portal.
Right.
I mean, you add all that together, and
so
wasn't one of them a snake guarding the portal, or was it two snakes, two spirits?
Yes, that's what I was just referring to, was what Shannon was just saying. I mean, they were protecting it. So
it's I don't know. I think there's a lot to be listened to. I think there's a lot to be said for the science that's being done to detect things, but I think it's just time and time again, just proving what we've already been told through these stories. We just feel like we need to like, well, let's double check about that. Or I guess maybe have visuals for ourselves because we think differently, you know. But it does seem to be just like reconfirming or validating a lot of the stuff that
Yeah.
like
It
has
is.
been said for a really long time.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So
And you cannot, like Jim said up there, you cannot take what their what the Native American lore, as he was mentioning it there, surrounding the ranch should be always taken into account. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Because I stand
agree.
more on that than I do pretty much anything else when it comes to passing of information down from generation to generation. And I've talked about that before. And I think they hold, you take that story, you've all done it. I forget what they call that, where you start the story around the classroom, and by the time it gets back around to
Telephone.
telephone, yes, it's a little different. It's not the same story as it was when it started. But I think with the indigenous folks and their lore, it does remain the same through the
Mm-hmm.
ages. I think, that's
Yeah.
my perception anyway. And so when they talk about something like this, you need to pay attention. And I'm glad that's what Jim and them are doing. Candace and Tom. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm very much in the camp where like I I believe that like the land holds memories and things too. Like I very
Mm-hmm.
much believe that we leave our imprints behind, our stories behind, our energy behind. And I think that even that, like this land was lived on for a very long time before we show like
Yeah.
before you know like other people showed up and turned it into a ranch. So I just think that it's probably got a lot of the history of all of that
Yeah.
that's there for us. I mean, again, going back to what we talked about, I think that was the last time we were doing an episode review, is like that weird architecture that's left to leave a message. So, I mean, I don't know. It's a
Mm-hmm.
combination of stone circles and symbols on the side of.
Yeah, and we know how our consciousness can change results of experiments. Like, what has the generations of human consciousness at this spot done or
Yep,
created on the ranch?
I agree.
It's yeah. Sometimes I wonder, like, with the insiders, like, what are we all doing by, we're part of the experiment now, right? Like, what is the effect of hundreds of people watching through live stream and interacting and becoming aware of this and becoming aware of one another and each other's? We're all quantumly connected now, and I think I saw Mike had said it one time here, where he was like, "We're all here for a reason." I think like. Uh, so it's exciting, I guess, is what I'm saying. All these things, but yeah, I think, like you were saying, leaving an imprint. I also think it's like we're limited in our perception of time. Like,
Hmm.
if time is a river, and I'm only on one part of the river, that's not the whole river. It's always there. Everybody's always there. And if you get far enough out in space and look back at Earth, depending on how far from Earth you are, you're going to see a different generation of
Yeah,
humans. Now, who's alive and who's dead? Well, from that perspective, out in space, it's
exactly.
irrelevant. Everybody's alive all at the same time. So, like, Skinwalker Ranch is one of those places where we can imprint our consciousness and leave it. And then also it's thin enough to where maybe we're even perceiving different time, parts of
Yeah.
time. I don't know. It's,
And now my brain is broken. So I'm glad
I
we went.
was thinking, okay, I'm done.
yeah,
Good thing it's Friday night.
yeah, right. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I tell you what do you folks think out there in the chat? You talked about, you've seen what the guys have gone through at Skinwalker Ranch. The team has gone through over the course of the last 4 seasons, and we now have come up with multiple experiments, all saying there's something happening some anomaly that's happening in the triangle area. Multiple experiments are coming up this, and now you end up with, what they're saying, something that resembles this right here, and they're speculating on this, of course, but
Yeah. A Laurentian wormhole. right?
Yes.
So that's
Yeah.
just a wormhole that you can travel through.
Yeah.
To
I
get
am on board with Travis to say that, and you've heard him say on the show, there is something anomalous happening at the triangle. He is totally on board with that, and I agree with him 100%. There's something happening there. What it is, I think they're still working to try to prove it.
Mhm.
But yeah, what do you think?
And is this the same anomaly that is in the mesa and it just moves, or are they two different anomalies?
Maybe it's the that turns it on.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you, Craig. Wow, that's great. I appreciate
Like,
that very much, sir.
when
Thank you.
you think about detonating a bomb or something, you don't do it right up close. You're like backing behind the rock,
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
and then you hit the
yeah.
button.
You think
Um,
about this too, and somebody asked the question of Brandon, about him owning this piece of property. Can you imagine that if let's say that they do discover that there's a wormhole and that they figure out some way to actually harness it and be able to utilize it or to be able to manipulate it in some way? Can you imagine being the person who owns the property that has such a thing on it? I mean, can you
no.
think about the ramifications of that alone? Brandon would own a piece of property that has a wormhole on it, and we're learning how to use it now and turn it on and travel and go places. Can you imagine that? I mean, I know I jumped way ahead in the future, and supposing that there is a wormhole there, and supposing that we'd figure out some way to actually harness it and use it. But can you imagine owning that piece of property that has it on it, and what you would do at that point with it?
No. Also,
That's
like,
that's the American dream right there, Jeff. I can't
Oh.
no,
imagine it.
I'm
gonna make
thinking
it.
if I was a neighbor, I'd be like, should we move? Are we too close to the wormhole?
Yeah,
Like,
That's
is it
prime
safe for
wormhole
us to
real
be here?
estate.
that is
Open up.
Oh,
prime
wait,
wormhole.
did our property value just go up? Is now the
now.
time to
Yeah,
sell?
SpaceX is gonna be knocking on the door.
Yeah, it's like,
Right?
hey, we want to use your wormhole. Okay, well,
Mhm.
the wormhole passage for today is $1 million. Let's go
Yeah.
through the
No,
wormhole. Yes.
I mean, I don't just imagine if that's the case and this is how they discovered it, then we would have the blueprint for how to map other wormholes on the planet.
Exactly, and I know you would find other ones.
They would be able to apply what worked here to figure it
Yes,
out
right.
and because now we're at like if it was this last one that they were like, oh, this is it, then they'd be able to go to all these other hot spots and be able to go like, oh, the Bermuda Triangle, let's do this exact same thing. Let's see if
Oh, look
there's actually
there's the
something there.
wormhole here.
Oh, this is an odd place. Let's do that there. Before we
Right.
know it, we realize that it's a minefield of wormholes that we're living in.
Right, because look at the fact that they are walking around there and none of them get sucked up into it. Rockets
Yeah,
don't
that's a
disappear into it.
miracle. So,
So there
I
obviously we
mean,
haven't done whatever it takes to be able to travel through it.
but I
And
mean,
in that,
like, I was thinking about this with this last episode too, where they were talking about like the 1.6,
yeah,
and it's like, how often are people even looking for that though? Like, if I lived in a place that was particularly known for, like, let's say UFOs and things like that, uh, do people go there and then try to look for the 1.6? You know what I'm saying? Like, how often are people doing the things that they're doing and looking for the things
right.
that they're looking for to even know if they're having something similar to that? We kind of think about like UFO hotspots, but nobody's like setting up shop and trying to figure out if they're coming through a wormhole from someplace,
Right. Which
right?
is why when I start traveling, when I start heading west to head out to make my way around to Vernal for Phenomicon this year, I'm going to be traveling with a spectrum analyzer and to find the 1.6 gigahertz and an EMF. And I'm going to travel watching the EMF. And when I see a place where it goes up real high, I'm going to pull over.
You're gonna have it on top of the
Yes,
on
on
your.
top of the
That's so
RV.
cool.
Yeah, so
You just
I'm
need
going to
that
be
cool.
tracking it.
Tesla book bag
Yeah.
for no particular reason but to
Then I'm
look
going to
cool.
go live and go, folks, I'm over here in North Dakota and I just picked up this anomaly 1.6 gigahertz.
And then zoop, Jeff's
then-
gone.
Yeah. Oh, what happened to him? Yeah.
I
I'm
didn't
gonna
see
be.
it all in the
I'm gonna
news.
go live from the other side.
Be the first person in history.
To be live from the other side.
Yeah, really.
I don't know. That'd be interesting to find out, Jim. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I mean,
I
is
wonder
it-
about triangle, crop circles. I want to know where else has this. The pyramids. Do you ever get any sort of signals like this around the pyramids or sacred
Right.
serpent, the mounds here? Because
We have to go look.
so
I
many
mean,
of these sacred sites were tapped into the natural Earth's energy grid or ley
Mhm.
lines, whatever you want to call them.
Stonehenge.
Yeah,
Like you've got all these places. It's like, are we looking for that in those places? So I think it's interesting. Like this very well could be like, here's a blueprint for people to now look
Search
for these other places because they've done all the work. It's sort of like discovering medicine for something, right? Like you
Yes,
have to go
yes.
through all these trials and things, but once you've
Right.
developed the pill, then there can be made generic versions of it because you know that the formula is. So it's almost like the same thing where it's like the money's been invested, the time has been invested. If they've
Yep.
discovered something, then other people could potentially use that to help figure out where these other places are.
Right.
And maybe that would be a great thing.
And if you've got
Yeah.
prime wormhole property, baby,
yeah. I mean,
Hold on to it.
Yeah.
don't sell just yet.
we're seeing that with like Shannon, what you were saying, we're kind of seeing that with Beyond, right? Where it's like, if not for Skinwalker Ranch, would a show like Beyond Skinwalker had known to look for 1.6?
Correct.
Do you think that's a coincidence?
No, I
mean,
don't.
Brandon Fugel has known what's on his property long before we've been able to watch it on television.
Yes,
And
exactly.
I'm just saying,
And
if they
it's
had
not
any
a
inkling,
coincidence.
the smartest thing to do, the smartest thing I can imagine Eric and Travis and those guys doing is like, let's figure out where these other spots are. Let's do this. It'll be like Monopoly for weird wormholes. Brandon's just going to buy them all these places.
Oh, right.
He'll be the wormhole tycoon.
Yes. Brandon, I'll be calling him up. Brandon, I found another one.
Exactly.
I'm going to be a wormhole dowser.
Yeah.
There you
Ooh.
So
yes.
it's just, I think it's interesting. I think it's very smart that if they're looking for the things that we know that worked on the ranch, again with the blueprint, being like, oh, if we're gonna find a similar place, what are the hallmarks of it first?
Right.
And then
GPS
then let's go
anomalies.
back. What did they say? They said, oh, we may go back to some of these places and are there people that are human sensors for it?
Yes.
Very possibly, like we saw with Jay Stratton activating something on the ranch, or the Katie, isn't that her name?
Yeah.
Yes.
Or like they've got some other people coming up on Beyond that, like, are there people that act as like maybe little beacons? I don't know. Is it because they were born near the wormholes that existed? I mean, I'm just saying, like, the possibilities are endless.
Oh,
I saw
yes,
your cat
Kelly.
and your
I plan on getting a wormhole finder fees. You betcha.
Could you imagine? That's the new profession, wormhole finder.
Wormhole finder. That's gonna be. I'm gonna put that on the back of the RV, on the back of the fifth wheel. Wormhole finder.
Oh my gosh!
People will be following me around. Oh, wormhole
until
tacos.
Until the creatures like from Trimmers come out of them, and then I'll be like, no more wormhole finding.
Yeah.
You don't want any of that.
Yeah. Anybody ever play Half-Life?
Yeah.
And they opened the wormhole, and it was Gordon Freeman that opened up the wormhole. And
he kind of looked like you too.
Put on the.
Oh my gosh, that should be your new. That should be your new like side name. What is it?
Right? It's been a long time since I played it.
Gordon Freeman, yeah, and he used to
remembering,
go around.
That's hilarious.
Oh yeah, Jeff, it looks like you if you like fit on those glasses.
I'm gonna see it.
Black glasses, huh? Gordon.
I want to see what this guy looks like.
All right, let me see if I can find it.
Yeah, find a picture. Yeah, me and my brother used to play that game. Really fun game.
Yeah, Gordon.
I've never heard of it, but my brother and I used to play. We used to watch Trimmers and pretend that the floor was.
Oh, Trimmers is good.
Instead of the ground is lava, that's what we did. Yeah, I could see that definitely being Jeff.
Let's
Gordon
see if I can-
Freeman.
Whoops, I'm clicking on the wrong.
Yeah, y'all, you already got the last name. There you go.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you're right.
It was me a few years ago in my younger years. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gordon Freeman. Yep. That's him.
There you go. Yeah,
That's
you have your next
hilarious.
Halloween costume.
Yeah. So, I mean, and it was weird playing that game and you're running around in a corner in the Mesa, Black Mesa Laboratories, right? That's where he
Mhm.
was. And you run around the corner in there and you see painted on the wall, "You're going to die, Freeman." And I'm like, wow, this is getting a little too personal.
Yeah. Right. that was
Anyway,
good.
all right. I tell you what,
Crazy.
it was Half-Life was a scary game. It truly was.
Mhm.
For the head crabs, you could hear them in the dark, and you're like,
What are they? Did you call them?
head crabs. Head
crabs?
crabs.
Head
Yeah, they would
crabs.
jump on your face like the alien thingy
Like
Yeah.
face.
suck your brains out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh
Amazing.
god, yeah.
It was scary. It was a
Great.
scary game.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Anyway, as we digress towards Gordon Freeman and Half-Life, so this was a great episode, another great episode.
Yeah, really.
And I can't wait again for next week. I meant to capture some of the clips from next week's episode, and I didn't get them, so I don't know.
Yeah, well, they're going to be doing simultaneous rockets, right? That
Yes.
was one thing they decided. Let's do multiple rockets from the Mesa, shooting up everywhere. It looked like. What
Gonna
else
be
are they going to be doing? This is the episode, right? That us insiders have been like told, like, hey, this one, number 12 is going to kind of blow your
I'm
mind.
so excited.
Yeah, I'm excited too.
I'm really excited.
I'm really excited about it. So, all right. So there we go. We had episode number 11. We got episode number 12 coming up next week. And we have just 2 shows next week. I will be planning another Insiders Insights coming up at some point here. I'd probably have them like once a month for now. I'm trying to back off a little bit here in the summer months. Doing 3 to 4 or
Yeah,
5
you're a busy man.
podcasts in a week gets a little bit tough to do, but but Thursday night we'll be doing Beyond Skinwalker Ranch again, and then Friday night we'll be back with Shannon and Seth to do episode number 12. So I hope
And
you
our
guys
eyes will be wide. We'll be like messed up from the week. Just
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it Tuesday yet? Honestly, is it Tuesday yet? I can't wait. So
I
all right.
know,
Well,
I'm
thank
so
you folks for
excited.
being with us tonight, and thank you again, Shannon and Seth. You guys were
Thank you.
as always, doing your thing here and helping out with the content of the show. Really, really appreciate it so very much. And if you like the content we gave you tonight on tonight's show, give us a thumbs up. It really helps out a lot in the YouTube thing. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the show. All right. And then give that little bell. If you click on that bell, then you get notified right away when we have new content coming out. So, all right. We hope to see you guys at Phenomicon coming up in a couple months.
Yeah.
Can't wait. I
Coming
can't wait.
fast.
Oh, you
it's
got a
coming
cat
so
down there too.
fast.
I do.
know,
I
our
got a
cat's-
kitty. He wanted to make an appearance at the end of the
All
show.
right. Oh, look at
Everybody
that.
brings their cat now.
Yeah, I don't have one. Oh well.
Jeff, you need to get one. We've
I
decided.
had.
Here,
Yeah.
you can have mine. I'll send him.
All right.
I'll send
well,
you our demon cat that I talked about
the
before. You can have the
demon
demon cat.
That's what I need is a demon cat, right?
Yes,
A-
it can help you
black
find
cat.
the wormholes while
Yeah.
you're.
Wormhole finder cat. That's what
It's
I
a
need.
wormhole finder cat.
Yeah.
Oh,
you can
there you
have
go.
our other cat. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. All right. Thanks, folks, for being here with us, and we'll catch you next time right here on the JFree906 podcast. Good night, everyone.
Good night.